In 1995, St. John Paul II wrote an encyclical called The Gospel of Life, in which he brought to mind these important issues, and he concluded that encyclical with the prayer that we'll pray this morning. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. O Mary, bright light of the new world, Mother of the living, to you do we entrust the cause of life. Look down, O Mother, upon the vast numbers of babies not allowed to be born, of the poor whose lives are made difficult, of men and women who are victims of brutal violence, of the elderly and the sick, killed by indifference or out of misguided mercy. Grant that all who believe in your Son may proclaim the gospel of life with honesty and love to the people of our time. Obtain for them the grace to accept that gospel as a gift ever new, the joy of celebrating it with gratitude throughout their lives, and the courage to bear witness to it resolutely in order to build together with all people of goodwill the civilization of truth and love to the praise and glory of God, the Creator and lover of life. And Almighty God bless you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. Today is Friday, January 10th. Today is May 8th. The following students are receiving this period in the guidance office: Danielle Phillips Knapp and Chelsea Musa. The following students are receiving this preparing guidance: Carla Ortiz.
There is no talking. Just the teachers paying attendance.
Jane Green and Melissa Kaylachi are receiving this unbroken guidance now. The following students are at the
Put it over here on this side so it's not in the way.
Anthony Mazzano, Nick Kajia, Gerard Salvia, Eric Cruz, Matthew Rivera, David Brown, Matthew Maya, and Jamie Lewis. And your quote of the day: kind words are the music of the world. F.W. Fairley. With that, have a great day, and as always, go Pirates.
Okay, before I hand the mic over, okay, so these young alumni are not going to speak over. I believe that's 4D, Mr. Palermo's homework, is that right? Okay, you guys do me a favor. You guys move to this section right here. And Ms. Irving's homeroom, can you move your homeroom up?
We don't need to see them shifting everything. Stop it. When you hit record, yeah, stop it. Yeah. I'll get set and then I'm guessing Ms. Libby will be the first one to talk.
So when she starts talking, record.
Yeah.
First period must be really lucky to not have you.
Okay, seniors. I'll wait for you guys. I'm going to hand the mic over to Mr. Berto. I'll wait for the home teachers to finish with their attendance.
Good morning. So, as you know, most of you are done with your college applications, or you're in the middle of the college applications, or maybe you're just starting. wherever you're at, now's the most important time to think about the next step. What comes next? Okay, so we have assembled a group of young alumni who will kind of give you their words of wisdom, their advice, some things that you should know moving forward. What we did was, there's recent graduates, there's from a couple years ago, there's from more than a couple years ago, so you kind of know what to expect. So they're going to be very honest with you, but also positive to give you some good advice. And then at the end of the presentation, we will have some time for questions. Hopefully, we'll get to all of your questions. If not, they will be around for a good portion of the day. So you can stop them and ask them questions as we go along. Okay? So some of them you recognize, like we have Madison Reyes, who is the class of 2019. She does attend Lehigh University in the mountains. She's majoring in psychology. She wants to be a criminal profiler, behavioral analyst in the FBI, and she's studying psychology. So I will let Maddie speak to you.
Hey, so what I wanted to talk about is sports in college. As you guys know, most of you, I play volleyball, and I was recruited to play at Lehigh University, so there's some things that I just wanted to talk about. First, I want you guys to know that all college divisions are great, no matter if it's D1, D2, or D3. You just have to make sure, to visit the school a few times so you know you will be comfortable there, especially if you want to see the facilities you're going to be training in, you want to see the gym, you want to meet the coaches multiple times, make sure you're comfortable there, and also meet the team. You could also mostly do official visits and unofficial visits, and you could sleep over and have like a mock visit with someone who's already on the team, and then you'll be sleeping there, they provide food for you, and you'll get to see what it's like actually living on campus. And they mostly do team bonding activities during that time, so you'll be getting to know the team also. Next, it's best to make sure your school supports student athletes and has resources available for them when it comes to academic counseling and study hours, as well as mental health counseling. Most schools provide study hours for their freshmen, so for my school at least, we had to do 6 hours a week of study hours, and you would be in your facility. So my volleyball facility was called Grace Hall, and we had a portion of it dedicated to just study hours and a room that had a bunch of textbooks and all of that. So make sure that also when you're picking a school, they support student athletes, they support you performing well, not only on the court or the field or whatever you're doing, but also in the classroom, because it's important to maintain that student-athlete balance to make sure you're not just doing the athlete portion, or just make sure you're not doing the student portion. Let's see what else I have here. Oh, also, club sports are just as good of an option, and it comes with less performance stress, and it's just as fun, and you will also travel, and you'll be able to maintain your grades. So this is what I decided to do. I was playing on the Division I team, but I decided it was a better suit for me to step down and play on the club team. And this came with wanting to balance my grades more, have more of a social life, and I also wanted more opportunities to be in other clubs. So it opened more opportunities for me, and I've been looking at doing student council at my school. I've also been doing work study, so I've been lifeguarding 10 hours a week at my school. So I'm really giving back to the community, and it comes with less stress from the actual sport, but I'm still playing, I'm still traveling almost every weekend, and I'm still having fun with my club team. It's just less stress on myself. Also, preseason. Preseason could be a major wake-up call to you physically, mentally, and emotionally, but with that, you have your teammates beside you who are going through the same thing, and you will find comfort in them. So that's about it that I have when it comes to sports. But if you guys have any questions with that, you can feel free to come to me.
I think what you're hearing and what you're going to be hearing across the board is the importance of being involved. Some of you are incredibly involved here, and it's good to keep that up. Like, I think you're tired of hearing from us. I think you need to hear from the young people. The next person up is Samantha Justiniano. She graduated in 2018. She attends SUNY Oswego. Her major is geochemistry. Her minor is mathematics. God bless her. And her career interest is very deep. It's money. So, no, she's not wrong. So, here's Sam.
I can't, like, with the poll, it's just not hard. Okay, so I'm gonna talk to you guys about the reality of college, I guess. And the reality is, mom and dad aren't there to wake you up every morning. Okay? Your sister isn't there to be like, oh my god, we gotta go to school. Your friends are gonna be new, right? You have to go out and meet new people, unless you're going with people from Spellman or from other schools that you already know. But you're gonna have to actively and proactively reach out for help, for friends, for family, because if you're going away, away to school, you're not gonna have like that easy day-to-day access, okay? So at first I was in North Carolina State, right? And that was 8.5 hours away from my family. And now I transferred to a school in upstate New York that's still 5 hours away from my family. So I needed to step back and realize, okay, what do I need in order to successfully be at college? I know that I need to hear from my family at least once a week. So I'll call my family and talk to them. You don't realize, like, they're annoying in high school. You're like, oh my god, they won't get up my back. They keep asking me to do all this stuff. I need to take care of my brothers, my sisters, whoever. But once you're at college, you're like, I kind of miss hearing from my parents. I kind of miss, just chilling with them in the living room or whatever. So if you need to contact your parents, set that up with them. Be like, okay, once a week, we're gonna talk. Or I need to text you every day just to like hear how you're doing and so that you can see how I'm doing. Same with friends, right? It's good for you to set up a good basis of friends around you. That way those days when you wake up and you're like, I'm not making this 8 a.m. right now. They're gonna go to your room and be like, bro, let's go. We got class. Or they're gonna be like, okay, do you need me to take your clicker? You're sick, I have to go to class for you. You get what I'm saying? It's about setting up your support system. Here at Spellman, your support system is all around you, right? It's set up for you. You get, how many of you guys in here have been called down by your guidance counselors? Raise your hand. Right? Regardless of what they talk to you about, you've been called down by your guidance counselor to be like, yo, get over here. Right? In college, it's not going to be like that. Yeah, you're going to get the emails from maybe your major, maybe from your guidance counselor, but you're going to have to set up those appointments. No. You're going to have to build those relationships with your teachers in order to hopefully get internships, to do research, to do whatever. And if you don't, those opportunities aren't just going to land in your lap, right? You have to proactively shape yourself when you're in college. Here, you guys don't realize that they're shaping you. They're helping you a lot. They are. Think of how many relationships you have with various teachers. How many people you know you can go to and be like, I need advice on this. How many of you guys have gone to teachers about advice for college? Okay? So, or whatever your future holds, right? Even if you're not going to college. But in college, you have to actively reach out to those people, whoever they may be. You also need to, I had a big stigma against like mental health, right? I was terrified to go to therapy. I was terrified to talk to anyone. I was terrified to go on medication, right? Now, for all you guys, this might not be something you need. But when you go to college, your situation is a lot different. You're under a lot of different stress. You have a lot more free time to yourself to think. So if you feel like you need to go to somebody, I want you guys to realize that you can. It's okay to feel horrible some days. It's okay to not want to get up and go to class just because you're so down. I've been there. And anybody who recognizes me from being here, you know I was in everything. Right? I was everywhere. I lived at Spellman. Okay? So you need to be proactive in recognizing what you mentally and emotionally need at college, as well as physically. You need to stay on top of yourself. That freshman 15, that's a thing. Okay? That's a thing. Okay? Because you're going to get there, and mommy and daddy aren't going to be like, you need to balance your dinner. You need to eat veggies. You need to go to the gym. I don't even know where the gym is Okay? So finding that balance of what you need and stop comparing yourself to others. Okay? Here it's a big competition. It's who's first right now, who's second, who's third, who's fourth. Listen, I graduated fourth in the class. Does it matter? Right now, it doesn't matter at all. No, it doesn't. I'm not telling you not to try, not to push yourselves while you're here. But I'm telling you, when you go to college, you need to worry about what you have at your disposal, who you have at your disposal. Do you have advisors? Do you have professors? Do you have family? Do you have friends? And if not, do you need these people? What do you need of these people? And what do you personally need for your own success? Because at the end of the day, all that matters is your own success. It doesn't matter if one of your friends is having a 4.0 and you have a 3.6. Because reality is you probably have different majors. My friends are in criminal justice. Do you think that the two of us have anything in common, criminal justice and geochemistry? No. So why am I going to compare myself to them? Right? You're working on yourself while you're in college. This is your time to personally develop yourself emotionally, figure out where you want to be in life, figure out your prerogatives, and figure out what's important to you. So that's really all I have to say.
Thank you, Sam. So as you can see, again, it's about being involved, but also about taking care of yourself, physically and mentally and emotionally. Sam, thank you so much for bringing that out. Because we have to break the stigma of mental health issues. You know, God forbid if you fell down and broke a foot or sprained your wrist or something, you wouldn't have any problem going to seek help. The same way, if you're not feeling right on the inside or if you're not thinking straight, please, 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 please seek help, especially in college when you don't have people constantly looking out for you. So become a voice for yourself. Sam, thank you. Our next awesome speaker is Isaac Yearwood, class of 2019. He attends Yale University. He is majoring in African American Studies and Education Studies. He's looking to pursue a career in teaching and education policy. Yes. Isaac.
Hello, everybody. Happy birthday. I see you with the tiara. Happy birthday to you. Um, First of all, thank you all for being here and being attentive. Y'all are a much better crowd than last year. Last year was kind of tired to see me. And y'all are just better. So I guess I'm gonna start. I definitely want to start first with talking about staying here. Even though I went away to school, I went to school in Connecticut. But I have a lot of friends that did stay in the city for school. And like when you see this, actually something we were talking about. We had a meeting on Tuesday to discuss this. We mentioned what's going on social media is not something that you should always pay attention to because you're going to see your friends posting the highlights of whatever's going on when they're at school. But trust me, not everybody is living the life 24/7. You're not even living the life 60% of the time. It's really difficult. And so for those who stay in the city or even don't go to college and figure something out on their own, that's okay as long as you're comfortable in your position and you give time and energy to whatever you're doing. I think that's across the board. Um, I know people that started and came from anything and did anything outside of college, outside of high school, that still ended up being successful. It was just having a plan for yourself and making sure that you're dedicated to your plan. You have people holding you responsible, similar to what Sam said about the people that you're surrounding yourself with, and ensuring that regardless of what you do, you're giving 110%. And so if you do stay home, whether it be for financial situations, whether it be for just academic situations, if that's what you feel, you, your family, you had a conversation with teachers, educators that are surrounding you, if that's what you feel is best for you, then just make sure that you give 110% to it because regardless, you're going to be able to figure it out in the back end. So I just want to start with that. Next, I kind of wanted to talk a lot about trusting and finding yourself. Personally, for me, like coming out of here and like in the situation I have at home, I feel like there was an expectation for me to go on a certain path. Like my dad thought that I was going to major in political science, so like we had this thing called ethics, politics, and economics, and that's not something that I really wanted to do, especially because at my school, the department is very good in terms of the clout that they have, but it's not entertaining. Like I was sitting through a political philosophy class and I was like, this is trash. I don't want to do this. And so I knew I wanted to do African American studies, but it was one of those things where it's like, oh, how are you gonna get a job out of that? What path can you go on after that? But then I took an AFAN class and I was like, this is just more interesting than anything I've done in my entire life. I'm not sure if any of you all have Mr. Jackson, but I don't know why y'all taking your team. I promise you, I think there's no disrespect to any teachers, but I don't think he's a teacher that's going to prepare you for college the way he is because of the amount of work that he gives you. It is disrespectful, but it it sets you up in a way to learn how to notate, to learn how to bide your time, to learn how to prioritize certain things. And so his class is as close as you're going to get to an understanding of how rigorous college is. And there's a reason why only 2 people have ever failed the Regents in this class. Don't be the third. He'll talk about you till the day you die. And so I think that I got to he had the only summer reading I ever enjoyed in my life was for his class when we had to read Lies My Teacher Told Me. So it sounds like somebody I read that. And so it essentially talks about the way in which history has been told from a very jaded perspective. And I got to the class this past semester called Education and Empire, and it talked about how history is told from the perspective of 5 white nations in Europe. And so through that, there's a lot of flipping narratives or saying things in a certain light to make things look better than they actually were. And having taken AFM, like certain AFM classes, like, oh, I've been lied to my entire life. And so both that and I always knew I was interested in education. Personally, for me, I've had the good fortune. I've had the good fortune of having some phenomenal teachers growing up that have impacted my life in a host of ways. And I know that teaching doesn't get the respect that it deserves. I will argue predominantly because it's a female profession, but that's a conversation for another day. And so I think that I know that education is one of the few things that everybody experiences, and in experiencing it can affect their life in a whole bunch of different ways. And so it stratifies people pretty quickly. And so understanding that, I knew education, I got to the point where I was like, if this is impacting so many people at the same time, but in different ways, that's a way in which I feel like I can impact change on a both immediate level for when I want to teach when I'm younger, and then on a vaster level when I go into education, hopefully go into education policy when I get older. But that took a little bit of time. It took a little bit of time because I tell people now I want to teach, and some people are like, why would you do that? You're going to the school that you're going to, you've done so well growing up, like that's a waste of your talents. And I actually kind of find that disrespectful to teachers all around because it's like that's one of the most difficult jobs on the planet because we all know that we're annoying to our teachers all the time. And I've had a newfound appreciation for them every day that I'm in my classes. And so it took a little bit for me to stop listening to all the noise come from other people that want to project their lives on you, because people are going to do that. People are going to want to live. Everybody has an opinion. And of course, that doesn't mean you shouldn't take what people say to you and find the best in what people say to you, because you can always learn, even if you don't like what somebody says, there's some level of truth in anything that comes out of somebody's mouth, and you can learn something from something that everybody says. But I got to the point where I realized what I wanted to do, and I understood one, and like this is where like faith comes in. I'm a devout Christian, and so I got to the point where I was like, if it's gonna like whatever God has for me is gonna work out. And so, but if that's not the wavelength you're on, whatever the universe got for you is gonna come your way. Whatever you believe in, how things work out, that's how it's gonna work out. But I would advocate for whatever God wants me is gonna come my way. And so, but that goes back to the hard work portion. Because I chose that path, it's something that a lot of people may like scoff at. Is I know that I have to work 5 times harder than the next person, or like give 110%, because then I won't be satisfied with myself. And if I don't end up being successful, it's going to be on me, not on anybody else. And I guess that's the next part, or the last part that I don't want to talk too long. That I want to talk about is reaching your potential. And I feel like reaching your potential definitely comes from you pushing yourself. Like this semester, I didn't do bad by any means, but I didn't do as well as I wanted to, and I was upset at myself because I was like, there were days where I slept instead of doing work, and not that sleep's not important. You should definitely prioritize your sleep because naps are going to be your best friend in college. But there's times when I like watch too much Disney Plus. Disney Plus ruined my life the last month. And so there were points where I was like, I could have done a little bit more to. I had the extra, like I got a B plus in Spanish, and I was 0.32 points away from getting an A minus. So like, I was like, if I would have studied for this a little bit more, I would have gotten better. Like, if I had three more points on my listening exam, I would have had an A minus. So stuff like that, it's like, okay, I should have put in more effort for that. And so it comes down to a point like how Sam said, you're not gonna have your parents there, or your friends there, or your family there, or teachers checking up on you 24/7. Of course, if you make connections, there's always going to be somebody that will check up on you. Like my advisor has saved my life so many times, and the person I work for, he's done a lot to like check up on me and push me and make sure I'm doing everything I have to do. Like he gave me 6 books to read during break, so like I had no option but to be productive. And so, but at the end of the day, you have to make the decision that you're gonna do well. And the thought of pushing yourself, I feel, definitely came from the fact that I joined a fraternity this past semester, and like how Sam talked about, making connections and going out and like being social. If you just connect with people. But one of the biggest things about like my fraternity is Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and our motto is achievement in every field of human endeavor. Um, and so and so basically like the amount of work that I had to put in is ridiculous. But one of the things that it told me, one of the things that it told me was that there is absolutely nothing that you cannot do. Like that of course that sounds cliche, but if you really determine in your heart and your mind that you're gonna do something, then there's nothing that anyone can tell you or stop you from doing because you determine in your heart and then through your actions that it's gonna come to fruition. And once again, I connect it back to my faith in the scripture that says faith without works is dead. And so if you put your faith in that somebody, like God's gonna hold it down for you, and then you do the work on the other end, it's like those two intersections gonna meet, and then you're gonna bust down any wall that's in front of you. So I'm in that mindset right now, where I'm like, if you put a wall in front of me, I'm gonna either throw you into it so it breaks, or I'm just gonna run through it. One of the two, but it's gonna get broken down. And so I feel like you just gotta get to a point where you're dedicating yourself to where you feel satisfied where you are. And then once again, going to Sam's point where she said, don't look at the person next to you for how they're doing. There's like, if you've done everything that you can do and you get the result that you get, you should never be disappointed in yourself. Because there's nothing that you physically could have done different. Like, I got a B in microeconomics my freshman fall, and it was the happiest I've ever been getting a B in my life. I studied, before the final, I studied for 3 straight days. I put myself in like a room where nobody goes. I studied for like 8 hours straight for 3 days, and I did what I did. It was what it was. And so it's like, as long as you give all that you have, whatever result comes, and that's what it was supposed to be. That's what it was meant for you. And so I guess that's the big thing. Is like being comfortable in the situation where you are. So if whether you go to school, or if you go away to school, stay home, or don't go to school at all, just be comfortable in the situation and doing everything you can to maximize the situation. Making sure that you push yourself to your capacity, and like not looking to the left or to the right, but making sure you're looking forward to your goal. So thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. I'm so glad you brought up the point about being a Christian. Whatever, and you said whatever your faith denomination is, whatever you believe, please don't lose that in college because we can. You know, we get so caught up in work and the secular and partying. Always keep that as kind of a moral compass. I know I sound corny, but it will help you beyond words, okay? But he said it so much more beautifully than I did. Okay, our next speaker, and I'm sure you know this smiling face, Nicholas Crane, the class of 2018. He's currently studying at SUNY Oneonta. His major is adolescent educational earth science and earth science, and he would like to one day be an adolescent education teacher in earth science, and he'll be phenomenal.
Okay, hi guys. So the first thing I want to talk about is how important it is for you guys to stay strong, meaning your grades after midterms, because I know a lot of you are probably checked out right now, ready to graduate. You guys are probably, as soon as you started, senior year, you're probably like, I want to get out of this place, but you have to be grateful for what it offers, because I'm sorry to say, I'm going to be honest, in college, the workload, the tests, the papers are only going to get worse. So your seniors that have your free periods now, take that opportunity to, do homework or study for an exam that might be next week, because in college, your free time goes like that. And, you might have a paper due within 2 weeks and you'll go to sleep and the next day it's here. It means I've been a part of that, but the main important thing is that after midterms, you guys stay strong and you finish and you go to the very end until you get your diploma. Because colleges do check your transcripts and they will check your midterm grades and your final grades. And you don't want to be that student that they say, oh, in April, your theology grade or your math grade went down by 5 points. What's the matter with that? And you can't say to them, you can't lie to them. You have to be, to be honest, I, decided not to do my homework. I gave up. I thought that I had the 90, from the beginning, and then, you get the 85, and they're like, oh, we're sorry, because colleges are looking for the best, and they're looking for top students, and they want their students to flourish. So maybe it's between you and this other student, and they're looking at your college transcripts, and they say, okay, you have more decreases in your grades, and this person, from midterms to finals, they went up, and you went down. So it's really important that you go to the end, because even though some of you may have gotten a lot of college acceptances already, they can take it away right there and then. Or if you get denied or deferred from a college, maybe a month or two later, they can say, hey, based on your improvement and performance, we want to interview you. Which leads me to my next factor. So how many of you, raise a hand, know what you want to major in or have an idea of what you want to do? And how many of you are like, okay, that's a problem, when I get to college, I'll figure it out? Okay, not many, or you might just be shy, but that's fine. We all know what we want to do, but in college, it can change like that. If you have your heart, if let's say both parents are a nurse, and ever since you were little, you loved, you dreamed of being a nurse, you played with your stuffed animals, whatever it is, and you get to college and you decide nursing isn't for me. I want to be, a music major. College is so great because it offers so many different classes, and some classes you might not even know exist. And so, what I suggest to you guys is go challenge yourself. Go out there and take classes that you never even heard of or might not even imagine yourself. Let's say you just like to listen to music, on an everyday basis, but you hated music class in high school. Maybe in 8th grade you hated your music class, but you get to college and you have like, a feeling maybe that you might want to try music out. Take it, because in college you have your major classes you need to take, but you also need to take your core classes, and also there's a certain amount of credits you need for non-major course classes. So you can be, an education major, but you might have to take a Spanish class as a gen ed, or you can choose to take an anthropology class as a gen ed. Like when I went into college, I was undecided, and I thought I wanted to do meteorology, so I decided to take an intro to meteorology class. And then I quit. Now I'm an education major, but I will forever be grateful for taking meteorology because it interests me, and I ended up taking an upper advanced meteorology class my second semester freshman year because I was so interested in it. And as I'm going further into as you go further into the semesters, what you have to take, gets harder, but at the same time, you guys have control of what you can take. It's not as hard maybe as Spellman, because Spellman we have specific classes that we have to take, and regents we have to graduate with. But in college, I suggest you guys, go out there and try different things, because you never know. So I'm not saying that all you guys that know what you want to do that it's going to change, but it might change depending on what you go for. And the last thing I want to talk about is, as you guys are getting your, acceptances and, talking about where you want to go, I highly suggest you guys go and visit the school. Now, because that was the deciding factor for me, because it is so hard to know, as you're going through these colleges. And if you're just looking at the websites and taking tours online, you're not getting the full picture. How many of you came to Spellman and it was your first choice, and you walked in and you're like, this is the place I wanted to go? Okay, no. Okay, and how many how many of you just chose Spellman? Just for whatever, and you're here. Everyone else. Okay. But I'm saying, and it's really important to visit the school because you will get that home feeling. At the end of the day, no one knows you better than yourself. No one can make decisions for you because you will get that home feeling. You know what you want. If you're stuck between a school that is 30 minutes away and 6 hours away, that's a big difference, but you're not going to know unless you go visit those two schools. Some of you right now may have your heart set on dorming, and some of you might have your heart set on staying home. But and as you go to college, it might switch. You might think, oh, I thought dorming was going to be for me, but maybe if you saw some dorm rooms, or like Sam said, your parents aren't gonna be there, to help you, and you're gonna be on your own, and that's okay. So some of you might be like, oh, I don't think I can live on my own at school, and it's not for me. And then the ones that are saying, oh, I can never go away for school, and I want to stay home for school, you might go away. So it's really important that you visit the school. I visited my school 3 times. One time just because I was in the middle of applying, and I was like, okay, let me just try and go. And then the second time was in February. It was when things were getting serious. I was like, May 1st may sound far from here, but it's really not. You guys, your time is ticking here. And now that your colleges are sending out acceptances and you guys are getting closer, that's what I need to do for myself. So I was like, okay. And then I committed in February when I went back the second time. Then I went back in the third time over spring break in my senior year, mainly just to do something, but when I went, it was downpouring rain. And people don't realize that it's so important because just like the factor of weather can draw you away. I always say my sister visited a school, Utica College, in the summer and loved it because it was hot, nice and warm, pretty scenery. She went, and then she visited the same school in winter and absolutely hated it. Everything threw her off. And just that difference of time that she went, made her decision, I don't want to go here. So when I went back in April, it was complete downpour, almost snowing, but I still loved it. Even seeing, everything wet and, just a mess, I still was like, this is my school. I didn't say, Mom, Dad, let's call this place and say, I want to decline my, deposit and all that. So as I come to the end, I'm just saying it is so important that you guys visit the school, because some of you may, have the school picked out right now, and some of you might still be so confused, right? Because it is difficult, because you're like, where do I want to spend the next 4 years of my life, going out to the real world, right? So you guys should visit the school, and even if it's in a different state, because if you have a school in mind that's in a different state, it obviously has caught your attention for a reason. So you need to back up that reasoning and go out there and say, okay, let's see this school in person, because virtual tours aren't bad and looking at a school online aren't bad, but some things may be left out, and some things may not be as clear as if you go physically to the school. So I just want to say good luck to you guys. I wish the best that you guys, as you guys go senior year, remember to stay on top and finish strong, and hopefully that you guys will get that home feeling. It might be hard, to describe like what a homey feeling is as soon as you walk into school, but I'm telling you guys will know as you guys go on the tour. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Nick. So I'm just going to reiterate one of his points, because like I said, I want the young people to really speak to you. Visit the schools, whether it's local, whether it's far away. Please make sure, because that is how you will know. Okay, I promise you'll get that instinct. Okay, our next wonderful speaker is Margaret Sanchez, also the class of 2018. She attends New England College, that's up in New Hampshire. She is majoring in early childhood education, and her minor is special education She wants to be a teacher. Duh. All right, Margaret.
Basically, I'm just here to tell you guys about like what Isaac said and what Nick said and what Sam said. College is about you, and you're going for you. I had so many people tell me not to go away, to stay home, but I knew that for me, I needed to go away. I needed to be away from everybody for a while. I needed to take a break, and I'm doing phenomenal compared to what I was doing here. So go for you. Remember that you're the one doing everything. Like Sam said, your parents aren't there with you. You're succeeding for yourself, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. So don't ignore, but ignore what everybody says, and just go for you. That's purpose.
Thank you, Margaret. That was awesome. I think what you heard, one of the common threads, is to make your own choices. Yes, you will have a lot of people giving you advice, and you take it, and you ponder it, and you think about it, but ultimately, as almost all of them have said, it's about your happiness and where you're going to succeed and excel, and that depends on you, okay? So take what people say, honor their opinion, because you always want to be respectful, but ultimately make your choices. Okay? Our next speaker is Ariana Soriano, class of 2016. She's in her last year at SUNY Geneseo. She's majoring in psychology and minor in sociology. And here's Ariana.
Hi guys. So oh my god, I'm a senior just like you guys. So I think I'm gonna talk to you guys, well I am gonna talk to you guys a little bit about like plans, kind of how Nick somewhat talked about it. So when I was in your position, I was like, I'm gonna be a doctor when I go to college. That's my mission, that's my goal. So doing my college applications, I was like, bio major, that's gonna be my path. Yeah. Ms. Roberto just said, I am not a bio major. And you know what? That's okay. Because, no, I mean it is. So I went to college. You have to go, well, I guess usually, you have to go to orientation. So I'm at orientation, still a bio major, and I was talking to my advisor, and I was just not feeling it. I was like, I don't like this man, I don't like this atmosphere. I was like, I want out. But I was like, you know what? Still want to do pre-med. So I was kind of undecided about my major. And then for pre-med, for anyone who wants to do that right now, you have to take psych for your MCATs. So I took it my second semester freshman year, and that's when I knew. I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I love psychology. I didn't take it here, so I had no idea what psychology was. When I went to college, I was like, this is great. It combined a lot of stuff that I was interested in, like humans and mental health and science. And so that's what I'm majoring in. It's awesome. But yeah, like you don't, and I'm still like pre-med, but for anyone who's like thinking they're pre-med, they have to be bio or chem or any sort of science, that's not true. I've taken bio, chem, orgo lab, all the science classes that I've had to take, and I'm doing just fine. So like, if you think you're on this plan, and this is the way it's supposed to go, it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. Like, yeah, I know people who are pre-med, pre-pharmacy, pre-dental, and they're bio majors or chem majors, but that's their path, that's not mine. Like, we've taken the same classes, that's all that matters. And like, speaking about plans, for the future, like, again, I want to be a doctor. It's like, my plan was going to med school right after college. Yeah, that's not happening.
She graduated from St. John's University with a major in psychology and a minor in theology. She wants to be a human resources recruiter. She's at St. John's University in graduate school. She's studying business administration and concentration in executive management. She's quite well-rounded. Krista?
Good morning, everyone. All right, I'm the last one. I get to have energy now. All right, please mind the paper. I have a tendency to ramble, so I'm trying to stick to this so that we can get to your questions, okay? All right, so they kind of summed up college really, really well, so this is just going to be a little review. So y'all, anything that they have said already, honestly, I'm just driving the point, okay? All right, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about transitioning, but with transitioning, that goes with everything. That goes from your mental health, that goes from changing your major if you want to, all of that. So again, you got to stay to this paper. Okay, so change and growth is a part of life. I cannot stress this enough that college is not high school. Here you see the same people every day. There, you will constantly be meeting new people. Here you have, you start class maybe around 8:30-ish, or you go home at 8:30. I don't remember the schedule, forgive me, it's been 5 years, my bad. So you start 8:30, you probably finish around 2:40-ish. You have your extracurricular activities, you do your homework, you sleep, we hope you sleep, right? All right, and then we repeat the cycle, so you do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you do it all again next week until we get to breaks, you know the deal. So in college, it's definitely different. You can have class in the morning, have breakfast at noon, and then you can also have class in the afternoon, and then have a whole morning free. So you won't be in school until afternoon, but you are going to find yourself with a lot more free time, but what you do with that time will be totally up to you. So I'm sure you have heard the saying, too much is given, much is required. In college, you have more freedom, but the more freedom you have, the more responsibility falls on you. So for me, I'm a girl that loves to do it all. I was here, I was in every single club. Well, not every single club, but any free time I had, I was in a club. So like Sam, I lived here. I didn't go home till 5 p.m. It was okay though. But in college, I kind of did the same thing. I kind of kept with keeping busy because honestly, with free time, I get bored and I sleep too much and then I don't do my work. And, you know the drill. So in college, I actually worked. I was an RA. So if you have questions about being an RA, resident assistant, definitely ask me after. So I can do this. I was in clubs, but I'm gonna be honest. There were a lot of times where I felt like I was doing too much. So definitely knowing yourself when it comes to those things is very important. So for me, to-do lists and schedules really became my best friends, but cutting back for your mental health is also important. When you get to college, especially if you decide to go away, you have to realize that your parents are not going to tell you it's time to eat. They're not going to tell you, hey, it's about time to do that laundry, because you will have to do your own laundry if you go away. Remember that. That's important. Did you study for that? They're not going to ask you, did you study for your exam tomorrow? All the responsibility, as I said, now falls on yourself. You will walk into college almost starstruck. It happens, but hey, the sooner you get into the swing of things, which it will gradually, you'll get there, I promise you, the better. Okay, so this is my warning. Please don't go crazy. Yes, have fun, but remember you are there for school. And unless you are on full scholarship, and power to you if you get full scholarship, power to you. But remember, college is expensive. It's a lot of money. So enjoy your time, but remember the times when you have class in the morning. Yes, attend those games and those events, but don't forget your exam is tomorrow. Know yourself and don't compare yourself to others. You are going to find that people take less time to do assignments than you do, but don't use their habits and apply it to yourself. Dangerous, don't do it. It may take your friend an hour to write a paper, but it may take you 3 hours or longer to write the same paper. Understand everyone has their strong and weak suits. Just remember your personal ones when you schedule things. Learn about your study habits if you haven't done so already, and try to find what works for you. And if you need help, just ask. Okay, so now I have a few driving points that I really want you to get, kind of my personal to-dos. So surround yourself with people who are growing with you or helping you to grow. Be a leader, not a follower. Dress for the job that you want to have and not for the position that you're in. If you want to be a boss, have a neat appearance. Don't let possible employers, internship supervisors look past you because you don't have a neat appearance. After all, we hear this time and time again, first impressions matter, and in college, I kid you not, they do. A teacher will look past you because of your appearance, and honestly, it's not fair, but hey. They're going to look for somebody that honestly looks like they want to be here, that looks like they want to be in a position, that looks like they want to go for that internship. Don't let them look past you. Stand out. Wear your best suit to class. Well, don't go to class in suits. Just neatly. Don't look like you're slouching in class. Like if you're trying to get a job, they're not gonna look at you and oh, you don't want to be here, so I'm gonna talk to this person next to you. Don't let that job pass you. Okay, try your best to take a second each day, look in the mirror and say, I love me. And I'm not just saying oh, you're looking in the mirror, oh, my outfit is fire. Oh, look at these muscles. Oh, my makeup is so nice. That's all external things. But when I say I love me, I want you to love the person that you are growing into. And if you find that you don't, figure out why and make those changes. Again, it's all up to you. If you are bottling feelings, then consider sharing it with somebody. Share, whether it's talking to a friend, maybe it's calling your parents, as Sam had said, maybe it's talking to a professional. Don't be afraid to do that. The resources are there, so use them. You may want to change your surroundings, and then if you have regrets about yesterday, see them as lessons for your today, and apply those lessons of today to your tomorrow. Don't let your mistakes hinder today, and use your lessons that you've learned to make a better tomorrow. Mistakes happen, and trust me, we're all human. You're gonna make mistakes. No one is perfect, but remember that your support team, so that all your teachers, our lovely panel right here, we're all now resources for you. So we're all rooting for you to be successful. So please use us, ask me questions. I think you're gonna get my email. Email me, I will answer your question. I won't be bougie, I'll answer y'all. And know that we are here to help you. And if you have any questions, don't forget to ask.
Wow. Enough said. Thank you so much. So we only have a few minutes, so I promised a time for questions for you. Are there any of you that have questions? Come on up.
This is a question for Isaac. You talk about pledging to be Kappa and also dealing with the workload at the same time.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's by far the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I understand how you feel. But I would say that I would not trade it for anything in the world. If I had to do it again, I definitely would. If you asked me that while I was doing it, I would say if you gave me the option to start over, I would never do this again. But the one, it taught me discipline in a way that I never understood. My day was structured down to the T. I deleted we had to delete our social media, so I had no social media on my phone the whole time. I've never been so productive in my life. And the biggest thing, I feel like, discipline-wise, it showed me what mattered to me. There were certain things that I was like, wow, I really miss being able to do this. I really miss being able to, I play club basketball at my school, so like Alumni, mentioned, club sports. I hadn't played basketball almost the whole semester, so I was like, I really miss that. Spending time with my friends, I really miss that. Spending time with my car, I really miss that. So it really, oh yeah, I'm gonna be not for 2 seconds, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I know some of y'all be out here dying it up. And I'm telling you, that's not only. Cuffing season is different when you need a hug. so I'm gonna tell you right now. But so I'll be honest with you, be loyal and makes life so much easier. But no, back to the point. It really showed me discipline and how to prioritize everything that meant the most to me, and like how to talk, like how I mentioned the objectives. Um, it meant everything that meant a lot to me, and so it pushed me to a point where I recognized that how much before there's nothing that I'm not gonna be able to do. Nobody can convince me that I can't do anything now because of what I had to go through and how far I had to go to get to where I needed to be. So it definitely comes with discipline. You definitely have to know that you want to do it. There are multiple D9 organizations, and so if you have to know what's right for you. Like if you may not want to be a captain, you may want to be an alpha. You may want to be a Q. So it's like it's but you got to know essentially that comes with research. You look it up, you figure out what you want to do, and that's what any organization that you want to join, you should look it up, get to know people that are in it. They'll have open meetings, stuff like that. But you got to make sure that it's for you, and if you want to do it, then you're going to do it as necessary.
Okay, my question is, if you experienced this, how did you guys deal with like rejection? How did you guys deal with like rejections, like or like not going to the college that you necessarily wanted to, or like being rejected?
Okay, so like I said, I went to North Carolina State first. So I was in nice warm weather. I thought I was gonna love it, right? And I hated it. Like totally hated it. Not what I expected at all. When I was getting my letters and everything, I was expecting to get a lot of scholarships, right? So I got into the schools that I wanted to get into. The only one that I got rejected from was MIT because it's fine. But it's fine. But I think it really like opened my eyes to recognize what I wanted, what my priorities were. When I started getting letters in and the scholarships weren't where I wanted, like one of the schools wanted me to pay $60,000 a year. Where am I paying $60,000 a year? So what? So it's a matter of sitting down and being like, what do I really need? Like, yeah, this was my dream school. This is where I thought I wanted to be. But now, okay, where do I think that I'm going to be best with the options that I have at hand? Don't think about, oh, well, this is what I wanted. This is what, you have to look at what I have, right? So even if you're disappointed and you're like, this was my dream school, for all you know, you could have gone there and hated it. NC State was like my dream. I was like, you can ask Mr. Berto, I was in the room, I was like, I'm so excited, North Carolina, it's gonna be something different. I absolutely hated it because it was so different. So that's what my advice would be for you. To not look at, okay, this is what I wanted, this was my goal. Look at what you have in front of you now, what your options are, what you have at hand. Again, using your resources that you actually have and being like, where am I gonna be happiest now? What's gonna work out for me?
I think we have time for one more question, and then, like I said the panel will be here, okay? But I did promise you teachers it would only go into orange. Okay. So I know for me personally, like if you're talking to me and I'm kind of getting anxious, like I don't want to be a deer in like headlights, like my freshman year of like college, because I didn't know it was me in high school. So, like, what is your best advice to not be a deer in headlights, like starting off freshman year of college? Because I know it's a completely different ballgame. So there's really no way to avoid that, but you really have to find comfort, especially in orientation. My orientation was about like 4 days. You realize that you have people from all over the country. There's people, the two other recruits were from Las Vegas and Los Angeles. I was only
DJ cycle when the bell was ringing, all that stuff. You didn't understand it. But that comes with time, that comes with growth, and you adjust. It was hard for me to adjust, especially with sports and everything, but after the first month, the first 2 months, like September and October are really your time to adapt and to grow, and then you become comfortable and you surround yourself with people that make you feel comfortable and are looking for your success as much as you are. Also, don't go crazy. Be responsible. Be responsible. You need to keep up your grades and everything else at the same time. Be responsible. Thank you. One more microphone question, and then I'm going to dismiss you, but those who have questions can come up here, because like I said, I did promise teachers you'd be back, but.
My question is, since all you guys went like away for school and you guys all lived in the city, how was that change? Because I know like I'm a person who loves the city and I love New York, and I feel like your personality, if you're from New York or even just from the Bronx or wherever, that it's so much more different than when you go like North Carolina or in the mountains. So like how was it acclimating? So how was it like seeing people with different personalities? Did you mesh? Did people see you as rude? So I like.
That's a great, because you know how, that's a great question, because you know how the Bronx is and how New York is. So I go to a school, Oneonta, you know, where you're going to be driving to school and you're going to see cows and just hay, and so, you know, and when they, exactly, when they say, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, the Bronx, you know, they're sometimes like, oh, like, what is that like? And I'm like, completely.
Somebody asked me if I had a gun.
Like, you would think that they think that the Bronx are like the worst people. It's a big change, because here you're going from, you know, the Bronx where there's so many people, you know, you have to avoid getting hit by crazy drivers in the street, and then you go upstate and it's like there's nobody. So like you have to sacrifice going from a very populated place to sometimes, you know, there not being much to do. Like, you know, we're so used to getting in the car and going, you know, to maybe Bay Plaza, New York, the movies, you know, linking up with your friends. But then when you go upstate, you know, there's not really that many. You might go to a place that has absolutely nothing. That may just have one movie theater and that's it. So.
Just know it's a culture shock.
I think the last question that seems to be kind of popping over there is, do you have any advice about dorming and meal plans? Understand it's not mom's cooking. Anybody? Do not have high standards.
All right, let's try to keep this quick. Okay, as I said, I was an RA, but initially freshmen, you come in, if you're going away, you dorm. Okay, so what he said about visiting the school, make sure you go see those dorms. I kid you not, that will be a telling factor if you want to stay there. Because I kid you not, there are some schools, dorms are immaculate, you have all this space. I kid you not, other schools, you're living in a closet. So please, please, please visit, look at it. Now when it comes to your meal plan, all right, I'm not gonna lie to you. When you go visit the school, they honestly do their best to have like the best kind of food. But once you go there, honestly, keep your standards. Yeah, just keep your standards a little low. If you try to learn how to cook, guys. When you're home. So like right now, go tell your mom, your father, if they cook too, learn how to cook. Get that food, you know. And then, but honestly, with meal plans, they're there to keep you alive. They're to keep you thriving. So please make sure that when you go there, you eat. Definitely get a meal plan if you're going away. Because honestly, you're required to have a meal plan. As they say, you see, this is why we have help.
You could also go off campus if your off campus isn't too far. Find a friend who has a car or something. You're not just limited to what's on campus. You could go outside campus, go to a mall explore, like, or not. It's especially for me, it was hard just being stuck up in the mountains with deer all around me, bears everywhere, so cows, all that stuff. But it is such a mental relief to just get off of campus for a day, go hang out with friends, and you're always gonna have to come back. But it literally saves you just getting away from it for a second, just like winter break does here. So also you have that option to eat off campus.
So there you have it. I can't even thank these young people enough. They have said everything that you need to hear and then some. Like I said, they will be around during your free periods, but as we're already